I was born in Germany, a very small city called Kreuzburg, near the Polish border. I was born in a house as my sibling. My mother was born in the same house. My father had a store. We owned this building, and upstairs the five of us. When it was peaceful till Hitler in '33 came to power. And I was, I think, 5 or 6, can't remember when you start school. I was in a whole row sitting by myself. My teacher was a real Nazi, There were very few Jewish children in the whole city. We have cafeterias. I remember I ate my sandwich in the playground, and they always knocked the sandwich out so it fell in the dust and dirt, I was the only Jewish kid in the class and maybe in the school even. The Christians were all afraid. If they said bad things, my father said this and this. The whole house was taken away from us. And we had a little synagogue because the whole city didn't have maybe more than 20 Jewish people there. And they gave us one room. So we stayed there, I can't remember, not for long. I didn't know that all the hate was going on. He shielded all 3 of us. He wanted to get us out of Germany. And our money dwindled away. We were supposed to go to Brazil, to Argentina, and everybody wanted money up front. And before we knew it, we were penniless. He wanted city to city from the people that he had ordered. He had leather goods. They said, go to the city Oppeln. And my father made friends with a Russian Jewish couple, and they said, come here. I found one room that you can rent. And that one room, the 5 of us lived for 2 years. Nobody should know that we were there, Most people didn't trust the Jews, The Jews should die out. They wouldn't let us go to school. But then came Kristallnacht, you heard of it. Jewish stores, were burnt up. But what hurt me as a little 10-year-old Jewish girl was standing and saw my synagogue go up in flames, And I had so much hatred in me that I didn't like myself. I said there couldn't be a God if God allows. That's so much hatred. We continued to live in that little room, and my mother made friends with one grocery store, and they opened up it in the evening so my mother could get some bread or cold cuts so we had something to eat. No Jew could be on the street after 5 o'clock in the evening. So he said, he heard that China opened up the doors. He didn't need a passport, he didn't need a visa. He would let people come in. But you needed money for the pass. Shanghai, special capital of China, would take mostly German Jews. But they all said, how can you go from one side of the world to another? So my father said, but I know the next week or 2 we'll be in a concentration camp. The Germans were very strict. In one suitcase, 2 underpants for me and 2 underpants for my mother. We had, I think, 2 or 3 suitcases, little ones, for 5 people. And we couldn't go by ship because England was already in war with Germany, so the ocean was full of mines. The only way we could get out was by train. But then we were 23 days on a train. We went through Russia, Moscow, we stopped. In Lithuania, they threw us off, all of them. They said there are spies on the train. We went off and we went through all our belongings. We still had to get off the train, and we had to wait till the next day. I had to go way, way in the attic, and there were mice coming over me. The next day we left, and we came to a little, was already Asian country. That if the train can't go any further, we have to take a ship. We had to sleep with the help on the bottom. I remember it was awful. He liked to say children can endure so much. I was skin and bones. When we came to China, so many people, you couldn't see the sidewalk. And so many diseases. And penniless you come. So they had 4 DP camps that they would take you in. I slept with 28 girls in one room for 8 years. My parents were somewhere else, the double bed. We had lice and things, anything that comes with crowds. We got a piece of bread every other day, and you rationed it, you hid it. Sometimes you stole from your neighbor, and they stole from me. We couldn't leave the camp for 3 years, till the Americans came. And I got there in 1940, and left China in 48. And in 45, the Americans, liberated. But you couldn't drink the water, and everything. You had no money to buy food. You had to depend on the Jewish organization. You stood in line sometimes for hours, and when your turn came, there was nothing left. Children, I don't know, they have something in them that they can, overcome where the parents suffer and all this. So we sat under the tree and we reminisced, when we get out, what Al will do and what you will do. I had one dress. When I was in that 8 years in the camp, I didn't even know all that was going on, and I'm glad I didn't know how people. I have 3 friends. One sister is left. They were in Auschwitz, and they have their names already burnt in, tattooed. But everybody has their own burden to live with. It was horrible. My uncle was in there too, my father's brother, and he got him out. But straw was your mattress, and but like I said, children, we went under the tree and we reminisced, and we all were in the same boat. We were all poor and we were all hungry, Finally, in 48, ships came and liberated us, My sister married a boy from Austria, from Vienna, so she couldn't come with us because they go by quota when they can leave. America took so many from Germany and so many from Russia, and so she stayed behind with her husband. Later on, when I married my husband, I sponsored her to come. Leave Mama and Papa alone. They don't. At least I spoke a little English. I said, they can't speak at all. They examine you from top to bottom before they let you come into it. And I said, they don't want sick people. And the doctor said, she has TB. We can't let her in. You have to come back in a year. I said, please, if my mother has TB, let me come back in a month. The X-ray would show. It would change immediately, if you have such a terrible disease. And he listened and came back, and thank God. And my parents and I, we came in 48 to the United States. When you go to this address, and I had a room in a hotel. I was so scared to be by myself that I went, during the night, I crawled into my parents and I laid on the floor with my pillow. So that's a short version of my life. Then I met my husband, and then war tragedy. My husband was killed on the road. 10 months later, my father was killed in his apartment, shot in the head. So, I had my share of bad luck in my life, but I'm here, and I'm grateful.